Video games are a vast and varied type of media. For many video games, the aspect of interactivity through a digital medium is all that these games have in common with another due to how different they are from each other. When someone talks about video games, one might think of a modern hit such as Apex Legends or Fortnite, or perhaps one of the classics from the 80s such as Super Mario Bros. Or Pac-Man. However, video games actually made themselves known as early as the 1950s. Shortly after the end of World War II, a few war computers were reprogrammed and repurposed for recreation and entertainment. Games such as Birdie the Brain and Nimrod were some of the first to arrive after the war was over, kickstarting the age of digital gaming. At first, these games simply resembled traditional games that could be played without usage of digital technology, such as tic-tac-toe's usage of a pencil and paper, or Nim's usage of matches. But the usage of light, and the lack of having to bring out these materials to play every time, would be a new exciting discovery. Such games being able to reset quickly for a new round was also a powerful appeal for many, though at the time these games were a small niche or merely designed for short events and spectacle rather than constant usage. The first proper arcade game designed for consistent usage was a Computer Space arcade game made in 1971. Computer Space was a re-release of Space War in 1962, ported to an arcade format. While its creators envisioned vast success with their new innovative game, it fell short due to how its audience was unable to figure out its complex controls. Many people who looked to play the game simply appreciated it for its visuals, as well as the novelty of controlling what happened on the screen of the video in question. It would not be until Space Invaders made its debut in 1978 that arcade games would truly begin to take off. Space Invaders was the earliest and best known instance of implementing multiple lives in an arcade machine, incentivizing customers to spend coins for extra lives, which is the method of monetization arcade machines are best known for, allowing the customer to pay their way through difficulty. Going back a few years to 1972, Magnavox would release the world's first home console, the Magnavox Odyssey. Unlike the home consoles that we're used to nowadays, the Magnavox Odyssey could not have new games created and installed onto it. However, being the first of its kind, as well as coming pre-packaged with a variety of physical accessories such as dice or cards, it was already incredibly impressive for the time, and having the advantage of being a brand new, never-before-seen concept to many people, it was more than enough to entertain families in the 70s. Many people had never had the joy of experiencing video games in the comfort of their own home before, which allowed the Magnavox to flourish. The Odyssey would enjoy several comfortable years of success before being faced with a variety of competition, one of which was the Fairchild Channel F. Roughly 4 years after the release of the Odyssey, Fairchild Camera and Instrument would release the first home console with the more typical cartridge-based system. With the invention of the microprocessor, Fairchild was able to devise a system in which multiple cheap cartridges could be swapped in and out of a single console to switch between multiple games on demand, allowing for consumers to save money by only having to purchase new cartridges for new games, as opposed to having to purchase a new console every time. The multi-cartridge system would quickly become the industry standard, with the cartridge model lasting for the next several decades. Fast forward to the 1980s. With cartridges being a commonplace system for game development, movie rental service Blockbuster would end up branching out of renting not just movies, but renting video game cartridges as well. This would further cheapen the price of games for both consumers and rental companies in question. Games could now be played for a limited time for a fraction of the price and commitment, and retailers could now make multiple profits off of a single product transferred between multiple people. This was a transaction unique to the rental system, which allowed for the consumer to pay small recurring fees for the game as long as they wanted to keep playing it. However, some games were either too short or too easy, which would allow for consumers to rent a game for only a single cycle before returning it. This was expectedly less than ideal for retailers due to the net loss in profits from renting so cheaply. Certain games were more successful than others in this regard due to being overly difficult, causing the player to lose multiple times, or exceptionally lengthy, in story-driven games with many chapters and hours of content, in order to extend playtime, and thus increase the amount of times a customer would have to rent the game to finish it. However, as time went on, the rental model would find itself in decline due to a shift in the video game market, as well as the popularity increase of buying games online.